Welcome back. You're still watching The Breakfast Show with Nashwa Rashid and myself, Mohammed Abdurrahim. Time now to talk about the President's Decent Life Initiative, which aims to improve the living conditions of the neediest in Egyptian society in 2019. And we have the pleasure to shed light more on this topic. Dr. Amany Hawla, she is a physician, writer, and founder of a leading charity organization. Dr. Amany, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning for all you and all your viewers.
Good morning, Doctor. And talking about Decent Life Initiative, this is something of great importance, and the most important part that there must be a clear role to be played by the NGOs. Tell us more about how the NGO can help and support in this respect.
Actually, we can consider the NGO as the front soldier in this battle because we have to be very close to the conditions of the families, to know all the details, not to be how can I say it, not to be cheated by some intruders who are trying to get some benefits which they don't deserve. So it's very important to have transparency and to put a good standards to make the full image of the people who are really in need.
Right. Dr. Amany, how do you see the keenness of the leadership to raise the poor condition of underprivileged citizens, the keenness here of the political leadership?
I appreciate the initiative as a whole, but we have some details we should take care of. First point is the mechanism. We have the good initiative and the good intentions are not good enough to implement the idea. Actually, we cannot ignore that our governmental system and employees, they need some kind of rehabilitation or training or whatever we can say it, but we cannot depend on them with the same conditions they are dealing with the all the data now. They don't have actually, for example, the computer systems. They are there, I can see them, but still we are 90% depending on the papers. Even the employees themselves, they resist being improved or being upgraded.
They resist change in general.
Actually, yeah, and this is a very delaying factor. We need to enforce the improvement. We make rules and follow it strictly, not giving them a chance to choose, because they choose always the easy
path.
way.
Yeah.
Talking about Decent Life Initiative, and I believe the main challenge in this initiative in particular that we have many entities participating in, and without the harmony among all these entities, definitely we will not be able to face the challenges. So I want to know exactly how NGOs can help in this. We are talking about different sectors. We are talking about the basic needs. We are talking about health. We are talking about education. We are talking about a lot of things actually, including SMEs, by the way.
We need actually to put what we can say a cooperation system between the NGOs, because we are suffering for many years of duplication of the laws and also the how can I say it, the approach to the families. The family needs help, so they go to many charity organizations, taking some from here, some from there, very little.
But what about the organization itself? I mean, the family is coming to you, but on the other side, I'm talking about the fact that there must be a map, a plan, for example, dividing different areas to this area will be for this organization, for example. You're going to work on this and this. The other place, they need something else. You got my
This is,
point.
yeah, this is what I mean by duplication, because we have two parties in the family. Sometimes the ID of the husband is in area and the wife is in another area. So they are trying to use these points to get
Take benefit.
take benefits. This is what I mean by making what you said, a map. It's very correct word. We can say a network with all the NGOs are in it to share the data and to prevent duplication. And we have a good example for a food bank. Actually, they from the beginning they started the system, so they are not suffering from duplication. But the others are resisting also. Yani a lot of NGOs, actually, I think it's not a good sign, and I think maybe of bad يعني misuse of the system. They resist also the putting themselves in one network to avoid duplication.
Now, I want to stay with this point, Dr. Amany, if you'd allow me. What do you mean exactly by the fact that, as you are saying, some NGOs are resisting, you know, organization?
Yes.
Why would they do so? And
we have to face that we have a lot of corruption in all fields,
including NGOs,
of course. And maybe some of they have good intention. Maybe I don't know what's inside them, but the total result that many of them refusing or trying to delay also the depending on, for example, they are distributing donations every month, 1 million. I'm asking or trying to with the Ministry of Solidarity, yeah, to have all the details in one network. Instead of just having like schedules of and different lists. We cannot tell now. We cannot do so. Even in my area, which I am working in, I tried with the others. I couldn't achieve that. يعني sometimes maybe also the refuse of change, but still we have a lot of question marks according to that.
According to Minister of Social Solidarity, Ghadawali, she was talking about the main aim also of this initiative is to provide the more job opportunities as well. So talking about this in particular and developing infrastructure, I can see also the role of NGOs is not going only to be limited to slum areas, for example, or the needy areas, but I will take a successful example by the government, Al-Asmarat, for example. You have moved different families from places that no one can ever live in, and they are moved to live in a more respectable area, providing them with all basic commodities and facilities as well. We need also to help them to sustain, this is the sustainable development, to sustain the life, to find job opportunities, to live and to have the chance to educate their children as well. So it is not just about moving to Al-Asmarat and leaving them. We need to continue working with them, and this is exactly what is going on. And I'd like to take this example as a role model for the whole concept.
You put your finger on the really most important point in the whole project. Actually, I am preferring that we are not starting by moving people from housing place to another, but we have to move them to a working place. I mean, we have to put the infrastructure of a huge or different areas of industrial areas, and we build according to that the housing area. So when we are moving them to Al-Asmarat, we have to have a good workshops areas, one big factory, whatever, but training system and a job. So we have the whole circle is complete. But if we put them in Asmarat, they start to try to destroy the first floor.
That's why I say this can be a role model.
They need to work, and they according to their way of thinking, the simplest thing is to buy some small stuff and sell them. We have to give them a good alternative. The first thing is training according to their skills, because they are not trained and they don't have the culture of work actually. They don't have the being stubborn and patient to learn skills. But we have to choose according to a small filtration system to divide them according to their abilities and their skills, and train them, then working. But this is the whole circle we need to complete.
Right. Dr. Amany, could you tell us the area you are working in and the steps that you take to reach the needy, the different projects that you have, and how will people help your organization if they want?
I would be very happy to let people try to understand our model. First of all, our slogan is charity is pride. It means we don't accept donations, we don't give donations. We just teach people how to improve their skills and to work, and we help them to sell their products. We make the whole system. Even a street child, even a breadwinner lady, even a simple person who doesn't have any skills, after half an hour of training, very small training, he starts to gain his first money. This is our challenge. We choose stuff which is very simple to do and needs no high skills to perform. So people start to gain from the first moment they start to work with us. We complete.
They gain self-confidence as well, not only,
I hope I could next time bring you some of our stuff. Thank God it's very elegant, I hope so, and we sell them in very nice places. It's all household stuff. When they gain the money of producing the stuff, they start by themselves to improve their skills. Last night, one of the girls, she sent me a nice picture of something. We make slippers for the summertime. She made some new ideas, and she said she was watching on internet and trying to improve the model. I felt so happy. So the engine starts to work. This is the point. We need people to start to work and to improve themselves, not to be waiting for us to feed them, to help them, to put them in houses. This is the most important part in our challenge.
Great.
What areas are you working in? I mean, have you selected certain places, certain sites in Egypt? How do you plan for this?
We're trying to move from area to another, to put the seeds and let it grow. For example, now we are working in Umraniya area. It's a medium class area, but we are spreading, reaching the more needy people. Yeah.
Great. Now, Dr. Umraniya in Giza, of course. Dr. Amany, the obstacles that you face, you mentioned the fact that you want collaboration and cooperation between all NGOs, a map that is to be shared by all. You want more, of course, cooperation naturally with the government. But you mentioned among you, in your speech that people themselves, some greedy people who want to take more than they deserve, are also a reason for derailing the project or delaying success and delaying the reaching of those who are even more needy. Yes. So can you stress on that last point, please?
You will be surprised if I tell you, for the challenge of street children, actually our first obstacle is the parents of the kids. they are depending on the kids to get money out of their work. They don't want them to go anywhere as they are gaining a lot of money from the street. Sometimes a very strange negotiation happens between me and some of the parents. How much will you give us if we give you our kid? As if it's like they are
business,
trading the kids. But I feel so unhappy, and it's very simple solution. We have like the what do you call it, military service. We have rules. Makes every young man has to go to the military service and finish it by the rules and by the some what do you call it,
laws,
the laws, the العقوبات,
penalties, legal penalties.
Why we don't put the same for the parents of every child when he reaches the 6 years old? We have all the data now.
It is part of the Constitution, actually preventing child labor and of course protecting him, and he has to go to school, a lot of things. There is a law protecting this, and we have.
It's not implemented in the right way. I mean, every man, every parent in Egypt, when his child reaches 6 years old and he's not in school, he should be punished. So simple. Now, then they will run to put their children in schools. But this is the first part of the law. I hope it will be implemented. It's very, very important.
Enforced, yes. Yeah.
I think also talking about training and the awareness among people as well, because I will move on to the role of the normal citizen, because we as individuals also have our role in working in this as well, because every one of us has some of the neighborhood that everyone knows who exactly deserves to be helped, and help him to, for example, in finding a job, in teaching the children learning, reading, writing, a lot of things, even by our youth, our children, how to help and support some of the neighborhood.
You said great stuff and you didn't mention giving money. And this is what I hope everybody is doing, because we are spoiling
I didn't
people.
mention money, that's the point. Yes, we want to help them to get along and to be independent.
But actually, if you look around, you will find most of the people are helping by only giving money.
The easiest way.
Yeah, whatever, but a few or a lot of money, but the end result, we teach them how to play and make some more detailed emotional stuff to attract our money, but not our help. This is the most important. Even it reaches the level of a crime, committing crimes by kidnapping kids too, because they know that when a woman who is holding a baby, everybody will help her much more than if she doesn't. But this is the point. Please, to everyone who is listening to us, stop giving people money in the streets. Please, you are committing a crime. You are preventing a child from being educated. You are preventing a man from trying to work, because you are giving him an easy way to gain money. Stop giving them money, but give them help. Give them care. First thing and simplest thing, by advice. You know what? If everybody is stressing in the same subject, we are will be the changing wheel is starting to move. But for example, I used to buy wholesale materials from the big shops in the mosque and area of the wholesale.
Downtown.
Yeah. You know, when while I'm buying, not less than 5 or 6 persons are passing, women and men, without talking. They come in, they have £1, £0.5, very little amount of money, and they go. When I mentioned to when I discussed this phenomena, they said every day we have maybe hundreds. like that. Why don't you ask, you try to help them more? For example, one of the shop's owners, he said, if I ask him to clean the place and I will give him 50 pounds, for example, he refuses. He has no time for me because he's running to go to every store to get the £1. So if he passes by 100 stores, he will get £100. Why he put himself in a hard work and start to clean up, for example? We are the
responsible for that.
Very, very important factor to stop this
phenomenon,
bad behavior.
Dr. Amany, how can we benefit from other successful initiatives worldwide? Or is it difficult to try, of course it's not going to be copy-paste if there are such initiatives that have succeeded in different countries around the world, because Egypt is, you know, and each country is very unique, but how can we benefit? Surely there's something we can benefit from.
Of course,
yeah.
I believe in that the human civilization is built on the accumulation of different experiences and making comparisons, even to avoid the negativities. If we cannot get the positivity of it, we can avoid the negative parts of it. We have also some similar countries we can look at their experience, especially India, all the Far East actually, because they have overpopulation in comparison with the Western side. They are suffering from the population
decrease in population.
Yeah. So China, of course, they are a good example also, and they the main help of their improvement is the high skills of the people, because people are working very hard. And if I tell you about how the bad conditions and the hard conditions they are suffering, especially in the beginning of their industrial revolution, you will be surprised. They had, for example, the workers used not to be allowed to work in the same city. They have to move to another city to prevent them of being socializing and having fun. They have to work all the week or the month. Then they go back to their villages or cities only for very small time. We are not asking people to be the same, because Egyptian people are very spoiled, by the way. We have fun most of the time. The coffee shops and the fun areas are everywhere. In comparison, even with the Western countries, still we are very spoiled. We're having a lot of benefits they don't have. Of course, you know that most of the countries, 7 o'clock in the evening, it's nobody is walking in the street in most of the areas except the downtown. But here, when some friends of mine who are foreigners, when come to Egypt, they say you have festival all the time. You are celebrating of something. And they think this is unusual to have people everywhere, even 3 o'clock in the morning and
awake all the time.
Yeah.
So, talking about the Decent Life Initiative, how can it change the shape of Egypt, or everything in Egypt, the image of Egypt in the future?
If we can supply all the factors as the theoretical points are mentioned, it will change, because this is our weak point. We don't have a lack of materials, of a lack of youth. We have a lot of factors, but we need to make them in a good shape. And main factor we need to put it in shape is the human power. But if we can build up this kind of system, so we are building up the characters, we are changing them to be an additive power to the economy, instead of waiting for the help, waiting for the donations.
Right.
I think this is important as well because we have several initiatives that took place, also very successful initiatives. For example, the 100 Lives initiative, and that was very, very successful. It was even praised and appreciated by the WHO to be a role model in the world and to be a leading country in Africa, for example, talking also about education, talking about women empowerment. I believe that all these will be under the umbrella of the idea of the decent life, because even if you are going to talk about decent life for needy people or low income brackets, I should apply the decent life on all citizens, because many citizens, they need help, they need support in providing job opportunities, in education, and we have seen this, the development that are taking unprecedented actually, for example, in education in general. We have seen what Dr. Tariq Shawi is doing in this respect. We're seeing vocational training now is taken into consideration maybe more than before, if you agree with me.
Of course. I have optimistic look to the all the what's happening, but still we are in the very beginning steps, and still we need to train and rehabilitate the people who are working on these fields, especially the employees. We have a big problem actually with their behavior, with their way of trying to implement all the steps we need to do.
Dr. Amany, of course it's a joint responsibility, making a decent life for all Egyptians, and especially the neediest, is a joint responsibility. Government, NGOs, the lucky segment of society, those who are rich or the educated ones, even if they are not rich. So, in your view, if we divide the responsibility, who should share the biggest percentage of responsibility, and how would you put their order?
Everything must be corrected from the head. We cannot deny that. We need to respect the laws. Actually, we have the laws, but we don't respect them. We don't apply all the we are choosy of the laws. I don't know how. This is very bad behavior of dealing with the laws. We don't respect them, we don't implement them in the right way. We are making, in some areas, for our work, we go to some areas, we find some of the laws are respected and are followed. In the others, they are not. And we are starting to convince them and to compare between them. We have a very strange flexibility in implementing the laws. The most important is to, I am accepting whatever we have. I don't ask for changing the laws, because it takes a lot of time, and it's very hard to do, and takes long-term improvement. Let's talk about what we have. We have already, for example, a child law to prevent child labor, to prevent parents from using their children and make them working, but we don't implement it. You can see the children everywhere working, and the parents are staying in the coffee shop drinking coffee. Please implement whatever we have.
Great. Okay. Dr. Amany Hawla, a physician, writer, and founder of a leading charity organization. Thank you very much for being with us. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck for all of us. Thank you. Dear viewers, please stay with us. Nashwa and I will be back momentarily with the second segment of The Breakfast Show and the Bicycle for Every Citizen initiative.